Okay. Relax, bro. Have a cup of coffee. Shalom, shalom, shalom. My name's Michael Sano, and I made a mistake, and that's why this video is happening. So, we were filming, and I screwed up and pulled the SD card, the little memory card that goes inside our video camera, out without turning it off, and ruined the video file. So there's no video version of this podcast for episode 6. So I apologize. It's totally my fault. I will do everything that I can to ensure that this doesn't happen again in the future. But it was me. It was no one else but me. We made a decision, though. We're going to put this up. We're going to put up the audio version with our 12 cities in Israel background in its place. Don't worry. We're filming episode 7, and I will stay away from the camera. But this is what I got. Audio only with a marker. Don't worry. It's a good discussion. It's a good podcast. You'll really enjoy it. So please, I invite you to listen. If you're not a fan of that, just stay tuned, wait, stick around. Episode 7 will be here before you know it. I apologize, and it won't happen again. Without further ado, episode 6. Shalom, shalom, shalom. Welcome to the 12 Cities in Israel podcast. My name is Michael Sano.
I'm Rachel Villegas.
And we are the 12 Cities in Israel podcast, the only podcast that is bringing you a positive message about the state of Israel. Before we get started, please let me read off a couple of messages from our wonderful sponsors. The first one is iConnect. iConnect, engagement with Israel that earns you rewards. Earn points and connect with Israel with articles, games, quizzes, polls, and more. So what exactly is iConnect? Well, iConnect is a social gaming platform where you can play, earn points, and receive cool prizes all for free. Their goal is to keep you connected with Israel no matter where on the globe you are. Now, why should you play? Because iConnect introduces you to a unique way to acquaint yourself with all things Israel while working towards winning once-in-a-lifetime experiences. So head on over to www.iconnect.co.il. That's www.iconnect.co.il and start playing today. Our second message is from Israel Phones, who is the leading provider of communication devices for people traveling to Israel. Israel Phones offers SIM cards, MiFi devices, which are mobile Wi-Fi hotspots, travel products, and serves the connectivity needs of tour groups, synagogues, schools, community missions, study programs, and individuals, supplying you with international prepaid SIM cards, cell phones, and USB portable modem hotspot rentals. Israel Phones consistently provides dedicated support for your travel cell, offering cutting-edge technology at competitive prices. For more information on what Israel Phones can do for you on your next trip to Israel, visit www.israelphones.com. That is www.israelphones.com. That is my best radio announcer voice. Whoa.
Smooth jazz with Michael Sano.
Hey, how's it going? And welcome to the crib. What's going on? What's going on?
Episode 6.
Episode 6. All kinds of stuff. All kinds of fun stuff. A lot of stuff. There is actually a lot to talk about today. And all of it is fun. Our last podcast, episode 5, where we talked about what we were doing, why we were doing it. That huge mark on my face, which, hey, it's gone.
He's pretty again.
I'm so pretty. Oh, so pretty. That's just that. Nah, we're done. Yeah. So a lot. Holy cow, we have more viewers.
Thank you.
So this podcast is available on SoundCloud. That's sort of like the root. That's where it emanates from. That's where it springs from. Well, it springs from here in our house, in our studio. And then we push that spring over to a different spring, which is SoundCloud. And SoundCloud gives you analytics. It tells you how many people have been watching. And one of the crazy things, like I can go back and I can look at how many people have watched over the past 30 days. Or the past year. But I don't need to go back a year because this is our 6th episode. And since we're doing it every Monday, we've only been out for about a month.
We're young.
Yes, we are. Doe-eyed. I don't know if that's a compliment, but we are. So I haven't really done any advertising whatsoever for this. We're going to start advertising. We're going to start doing Facebook ads, and that will push us out to a larger audience who, with the keywords that we use, Israel travel, Jewish culture, Israeli culture, all that stuff. And of course the hashtags of the city names and whatnot, Tel Aviv, Beersheba, Haifa, Jerusalem, all that generates views on our Instagram page. But it'll also wind up, if I use those hashtags when we're trying to finally advertise, we'll reach those people on Facebook. But the reason I'm saying that we have no advertising going right now, with no advertising, we have had over 109 downloads.
Wow.
Of just our 5 episodes. So that's nobody. That's in a vacuum. Keep clapping. Yay.
Yay.
In a vacuum, our message has been getting out to people. And that's pretty intense because that means that, I don't know what that means. Do you know what that means?
It can only go up from here.
Yeah. I mean, it literally, it can only go up from here, but it's already, if you look at that from a mathematical perspective and think about the exponential growth of this station, the exponential growth of this discussion and people's reaction to our message, we're still getting, I put out episode 5 today. Depending on where you, depending on where you are, I put it out today or late last night. And those numbers, it's 109 now. But I think it was 104 or 105 last night before anything even just went out.
Yeah.
So that's off of 4 episodes. That's that many people. And one of those days, we pulled in 55 people.
Wow. Thank you for listening.
And it was on a random episode. It was on episode 2.
Two.
Yeah, which was flying to Israel. But the cool thing is, and this is the crazy part, is where these people are. So normally you'd say, okay, so it's probably people from Brooklyn, and it's also probably people from Israel. We're probably getting people from Israel who are listening to it. But I'm going to give this to you, and what I'd like you to do is if you could read the place and how many people in that place downloaded this podcast.
Let's go around the world together. All right. So we have the United States at 40, and then we're in Canada with 7 people, 6 people in Mexico, 4 in France, 4 in Spain, 4 people in Saudi Arabia, 3 people in Algeria, 9 people in Russia, 3 in Argentina, 2 in Indonesia, 2 in Cambodia, 2 in the Philippines,
Yay.
2 in Malaysia, 2 in Serbia, 1 person in India, 1 in Thailand, 1 in Costa Rica, 1 in Kuwait. Right, that's how I pronounce it. Kuwait.
Kuwait? Yeah.
Yes, I'm sorry.
It's okay.
1 in Guyana, 1 in the Republic of Moldova, 1 in Bolivia, 1 in Germany, 1 person in Greece, 1 in Israel, hello, 1 in Kenya, 1 in Morocco, 1 in Brazil, 1 in Italy, 1 in Honduras, 1 in Palestine,
Honduras.
1 in Kazakhstan, 1 in the Dominican Republic, 1 in Lithuania, 1 in Vietnam, 1 in Uganda, 1 in Ukraine, and 1 in Trinidad and Tobago. Thank you for everyone
Wow.
around the world there.
Good job, you guys. Good job. Your pronunciation, and then you did the nightly news Spanish pronunciation. Honduras. Today in Honduras. And amazing. So we have some interesting. I mean, these are some really interesting stats.
I wasn't expecting that, honestly.
No, I wasn't expecting that at this point in what we were doing. I thought there'd be a lot more slog, a lot more pushing, a lot more heavy lifting before we got. I mean, the fact that people all over the world are pulling this thing, and even if they're not watching the whole thing or listening to the whole thing, these aren't even our views on YouTube. This is just through SoundCloud. And what SoundCloud is doing is and I don't know if it's pulling these stats from other aggregators. Now, what an aggregator is that's the other places that you can find it. So it's on SoundCloud. Okay. SoundCloud is our home base. What are you doing?
I'm hot.
I know it's really warm in the
muggy
studio
up here
today. And these lights, which make us look beautiful. Hi.
Don't help.
Hi. They don't. Yeah. They generally make it a little bit uncomfortable. But SoundCloud, which is our home base, it's where we keep all our podcasts. We have other aggregators that pull from our SoundCloud and disseminate it to everyone else. One of those is iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, TuneIn, and Spotify, which is huge.
Shameless plugs.
Yes, shameless plugs. But I don't know if those, if that data is coming from there as well, or if this is just people on SoundCloud pulling it. And then iTunes has also got stats, and all the other places have stats. So I don't even know how many people, because I have to get that together. I have to get all that information together because of discussions that we are having. And I'm going to be a little bit, and I know I do this. I do the editing along with Bigosh, but I do the, she's actually the boss, where I do this simple edit, and then she looks at it and says, you got to go back.
I am nice about it.
Fix it. Please.
Constructive criticism.
Yes. But what was I just saying?
Compiling the data.
Okay, so compiling the data. This is just our info that we got from SoundCloud. I have to get all the information together. I also have information on YouTube. So our YouTube views are right on par. They're about the same. So each episode is generating anywhere from, 20 to 25 views. And that's with no advertising. None. And all of this is about to change. Over the next couple of weeks, we're going to be purchasing some Facebook advertising. Not buying friends, because I saw a weird video on that. And they're like friend farms or like farms or something like that. And what it is it's places in like Pakistan and India. And you can, when you go online and they say, hey, get this many Instagram likes or this many Instagram followers or this many Facebook followers or whatever. There's no engagement. And the thing that I'm finding is that with our Instagram, we're actually receiving engagement. I have people commenting. I'm responding to comments.
You are.
Yeah. Have you
Yeah.
remember I said to you, so years ago when I first went to Israel, no, the second time I went to Israel.
Yeah, when I went with you to Jerusalem.
Yes, we went to Jerusalem and I got my hair cut by this wonderful, wonderful Arab man in the Muslim quarter.
He's such a beautiful soul.
He is. He was a sweet guy. Did not speak any English, but he was just the nicest guy. And I ran into him, and that became one of our Instagram
Were you
posts.
looking for him, or was
No, I was walking down the street, and boom, he's sitting there with those guys.
That's so funny.
And not 2 minutes before had I said it, I feel like somewhere over, I've been down this street before. I feel like did I get a haircut here? And then
best haircut.
the best. He used a razor on the back of my neck and around all the edges and everything. He was amazing. And I'm sorry. And it has nothing to do with the fact that he was an Arab, and I need to qualify that. Anyone comes at me with a razor, a straight razor, like an old-fashioned straight razor, and says, "Okay, don't move," I'm not moving, for one. And two, I got the jitters, and he just deftly just he is a master. So look on the shops as you're going through, and it really is a hole in the wall.
You would walk past it. Like, if you weren't just like aware, you would really walk past it.
We did. We walked past it, remember? And then I walked back. I said, "Hold on a minute." And I walked back and I said, "I'm going to get a haircut." And you went, "What? You're going to, what?" And I said, "Yeah, I'm going to get a haircut." And I wound up just meeting someone that was absolutely amazing. And I was blessed with the opportunity to be able to run into him again, just hanging out. Like that's what, like, we chill somewhere and we do not find it entirely special or amazing. It's just our stoop. You know what I mean? And, but that was his stoop. That, and wow. It was his chill spot. He needed a cool hat. That would have finished it off. But yeah. So my whole point for bringing all of that up was I got a lot of feedback on that one. I got a lot of likes on that one, and we're getting some real engagement. All the fans that we have are, thank you so much. You guys are reaching out to us through Instagram. I'm getting comments on YouTube about stuff. And if you put in a comment on YouTube, this is important. I need to tell you, apparently there's a gateway. And sometimes, and it has nothing to do with what I've set up. It's the way their algorithm works. Sometimes stuff shows up as spam. So I have to go through, and sometimes I find regular comments that are showing up in spam. So if it doesn't show up, please be patient. Between editing, between making this, filming it, between recording it, all of it, sometimes things get a little backed up, but I do think about you guys, and I do go, and I do see it on my phone, and forgive me for not being adept enough at being able to respond to the YouTube comments, because I have my personal YouTube account, which is set up with my personal YouTube, and then I have the 12 Cities, which is our business one. And I keep all that separate, so I don't always have access to responding to comments or understand exactly what I need to do in order to have that functionality. I may have that functionality, but just have no clue how to use it.
Soon to be tech savvy.
Yes. Actually, I find myself to be pretty tech savvy.
You are.
I just, there are holes in my knowledge. But what was I? There was a reason why I was going, because we went somewhere. Where did we go yesterday?
If I say the name wrong, just stop me.
No, I'm going to see, because remember in the last episode, you were like, I have no idea what event we're going to, and it was because I never told you what event we're going to.
Yes.
But now that you've gone to the event, what was the event?
The Jewish Post.
Nope.
No. Cool.
Place.
Jerusalem.
Yes.
The Jerusalem Post Conference.
Yes. Good job.
Yay.
Kol hakavod. So we went to the Jerusalem Post Conference yesterday, and what the Jerusalem Post Conference is it's a conference where they have a lot of people from American and Israeli politics and a lot of big minds in the United States and Israel who address some of the issues that go on today. And it's not all politics, and it's not all religious. Some of it is just
It was a cool one. It was an environmental one. So it was like helping with the reversing desertification in Israel. Yeah.
Well, all right. So we went to Ben Gurion University, which is in the Negev, which is a what?
The Negev is a desert.
In every sense of the word. It is.
Yeah.
Oh, gosh, it's so hot. It is so hot.
It's flat. They're really flat.
Really, really flat. But it's beautiful, and I love it, and it's an awesome place to be. So if you've been to Israel and you haven't been to the Negev, you haven't seen Israel. So, but one of the things that Ben Gurion University, which is in the Negev, does is they do a lot of programs for bringing water to the desert. Water's, a precious commodity, and they share this technology. And that's one of the, that was one of the focuses of some of the discussions that were going on at the Jerusalem Post Conference. Of course, some of it's political. Of course, some of it is going to be about, tensions between the different factions within Israel, not just, Arab and Israeli, but Israeli and Israeli, or American and Israeli. Just it's an unending conversation when it gets to that. But what they had is they had a lot of tables outside of the big conference meeting hall, and they had these really, really, really amazing vendors. I don't know that they were vendors as much as they were, we'll call them vendors.
Panels. No, not panels either.
No.
You're tabling.
Yeah, there were, the tables outside of a conference you go, and the people, the
like
vendors.
Comic-Con.
Yeah, they're vendors. I don't know. Yeah, but they're, and we don't have the word. But one of them was the JNF, and the JNF, I was talking to the woman there. The JNF is the Jewish National Fund. Now, the Jewish National Fund predates the state of Israel. And one of the cool things about it is I don't know if you've ever heard of this. Have you ever heard of Plant a Tree in Israel?
Planet Train. No.
Plant a Tree?
Wait, yes. Yes.
Yeah, there's always a big drive. Christian churches do it too. They get on board with it. But all of that is through the JNF. Now, the JNF was, if I get this right, I am a rock star. So the JNF was established during the World Zionist Organization at the time when Theodore Herzl was alive, and it was done with the intention of buying tracts of land from landowners in the Ottoman Empire for establishing farms, which eventually became the Moshavim and the Kibbutzim. The Moshav and the Kibbutz, the farms. The social. Remember we talked about that a couple of episodes back? So the JNF goes all the way back to then. Did you know that?
No.
Remember that whole discussion I was having?
Yes.
That's you don't look.
It's a lot.
Yeah, there
was a lot in that episode.
Yeah, there was a lot to unpack. So, but what's neat is I think I've been to this conference before, and they've been there before. They're always there.
Okay.
And they always have cool tchotchkes to give out. They had keychains.
They're so pretty.
And and they had little tzedakah tins for collecting change, and and they had these little trees, which were these little metal trees. So they were there. Who else was there? Rambam Hospital was there, which, if you don't know who Rambam, well, Rambam, of course, if you're Jewish, you know who he was. He was a great scholar, great blanking right now. Wow, my Jew cred is just at zero. He was a Torah scholar. He gave us a lot of response to a lot of questions that were in the Torah. I am paraphrasing. I'm not doing a good job. But bottom line, Rambam is also the name of a hospital in... No.
Haifa.
Yes.
Haifa.
And what's funny is I did a vlog on Haifa. And
without me?
Yes, without you.
Wow.
No, okay. You produced it. You don't remember. It's actually one of the fewer watched videos on our channel. Did you know that? And it's one of the most beautiful. It's one of the coolest ones. Out. No, I'm serious, and my wife wanted to go to Haifa based on that video.
Oh,
and
hey.
Some of the and we've been to Haifa, Bigash and I.
Yeah.
And every once in a while,
part of my soul is still on that hill.
It's just one of the most fantabulous cities on the planet. But as we were walking around in the Jerusalem Post conference, Rambam. Why do I know Rambam?
Yes.
And I was, and all of a sudden, I remembered exactly, because it's the hospital at the bottom of the hill, at the bottom of the mountain, next to the port, next to the train stop Bat Galim. And Bat Galim is it's my favorite place. It's this little like seaside town with restaurants and all kinds of places. And so I got into a nice, long, healthy discussion with a woman, Ellen, from there. And she was really great, really nice. She's the president of the American Friends of Rambam. And we were discussing one of the directions that we're going to be going in the future with this podcast. And that is to interview people from Israel, to interview Americans who have close ties to Israel, because this formula that I was explaining to everyone yesterday at this conference was the 8 and 4. Okay. And that's 8 months in the United States and 4 months in Israel. So it's, and I think I discussed it last. Did I discuss it last one podcast?
Yes, you did. I remember you mentioned it in one podcast.
Yeah, and we're going to be here. And we're going to be here for 4 months, Israel for 2 months, back 2. And while we're here, we're going to be interviewing, Americans and Israelis who are in America. And when we're there, we're going to be interviewing Israelis.
In Israel.
In Israel. And one of the people that I want to talk to is her. And nice. Specifically some of the people from Rambam. There was also a hospital in Jerusalem, and I am blank on the name of it. We only spoke to them for a moment because there were so many people in front of their table.
Yeah.
But the neat thing about it was everyone that we spoke to about it was like, "Oh wow, that's so great."
Yes.
All right. We're almost on the half hour. So what I need to do real quick is I need to give a couple more
shout outs.
Exactly. Shout outs and messages from some of our sponsors. Our next one is Neviot. I'm going to hand this one over to Bigash.
Yay, I get to read.
Yes, as she tears down the studio. Okay.
All right. I get to be like Michael. Neviot flavored water, nature at its best. Neviot delivers you with a true combination of health and pleasure. Based on Neviot natural mineral water, one of its kind in Israel. It's enhanced with 5 B group vitamins, and it's naturally sweetened. It is low in calories, which is only 30 to 40 calories per 8 fluid ounces. There are no preservatives and no color additives. It is available in delicious, indulging flavors, apple, peach, and grape. If you're in Israel, you should be drinking Neviot. For more information, check out their website at www.neviotglobal.com/en/home. www.neviotglobal.com/en/home. That was painful.
Do the next one. Come on.
Makolet. Blah, blah,
Our
blah,
next
blah.
sponsor is...
Our next sponsor is Makolet Online. Makolet Online's main goal is to make Israeli groceries and Judaic products affordable and available to everyone in the USA and Canada. Their online store carries items that are unavailable in most places in North America. Things like tahini, Israeli chocolates, frozen burekas, and the Neviot water that we are drinking here today. At Makolet Online, you will find your favorite Israeli goods or simply enjoy brand new flavors. All of their products are kosher and most are manufactured in Israel. If you want to taste the If you want the taste of Israel delivered to your home, visit www.makoletonline.com and order today. For an added bonus, if you use this code 12 cities in Israel, all caps, no spaces, all one word, you will receive 15% off of your entire purchase. So again, visit www.makoletonline.com and order today.
Come to Makolet Online. Come to Makolet Online. If you use the code 12 cities in Israel, we'll give you 15% off. Okay.
Everyone wants a sale.
Sorry, I felt I've never been that free. You did it.
You were having fun.
Oh my gosh, I was having a blast. Did you see my face?
Yes.
When the Neviot.
Ecstatic.
I was feeling Neviot. And while you were doing that, for some of you who are watching this, you probably saw my face go like this with a little bit of anger. I wasn't angry. I was concerned. My cat, Tabitha, decided to use the tripod that's holding the $1,000 Atomos digital monitor that we have as something to scratch her back on. And that look on my face was terror. So so I had to gently. I'm using
gently
my foot.
Kick her.
No, I didn't kick her. I pushed her away with my foot, and then I had to swat the air so that she yes, I scared her. I'm sorry. Okay, so we were on the subject of we were on the subject of being at the Jerusalem Post. So here's the thing. I think you were confused about why we were there in the beginning. And so there are a lot of, I think in the beginning of this podcast, there were a lot of, there was discussion about what goes on there and about the politics of it. And I don't think it's fair to say that it's a right-wing thing, because there were a number of people from the left there as well. There were Democrats there. There were Republicans there, American, politicians. And then there were also Israeli politicians, and they all had different views, and all of their views were allowed to be voiced. Yes. But the whole thing is, we weren't there for that.
Yeah.
We were there. This is so hilarious. We were there to network. 100%. We were there to network. I was there to sell. I was there to sell this show. And I don't mean sell this show for a price, but sell this show to generate interest. I had a stack of, how big was the stack?
At least.
Was it about that big or
Yeah.
bigger?
Like a little bit, like.
Less?
Yeah.
Oh, you're more.
I don't know. I have smaller fingers. I don't know.
Okay, so you had, but it was an S-ton. It was a lot of them. It was a lot of
good
cards.
job.
You see, this is a clean show. So, but I had a lot of cards, and in the last episode, I gave up. Was it the last episode? I gave up a little secret about myself, about my social anxiety. So the success of this show is more important than any anxiety that I will ever feel. My love for Israel is greater than any anxiety that I will ever feel. In the same way that my need to graduate with a degree from the college of my choice was greater than my need to succumb to my issues with mental health. Wow, I tried to say that nice and sounded loony. Holy cow, my issues with mental health. Come on, nah. No, you're wearing shoes, but no pants. Okay. And that is the opposite of what I'm trying to portray. My issues with anxiety. Okay. So, what I did is I just went there and we decided that during the breaks, I had decided, and then I let you in on it, during the breaks, and there were a number of breaks, everyone was going to come out, and I was just going to get rid of this stack of cards.
That was his goal.
Get rid of this stack of cards, let everyone that I came across who would be willing to take one and listen to me for 2 seconds, and I had a neat little spiel.
Elevator pitches.
That's exactly what it was. How did you know that
It's like,
where did you hear that?
you know what? I heard it in film school, because it's like you're going to get into a room and you got to pitch your idea in 30 seconds or less. And you have to get someone to at least have some type of interest, because you have to get your main point across. Because like people are like, all right, I got 30 seconds, time for me to go. And if you don't get your point across in those 30 seconds, it's for nothing.
So I told you in the last episode that I read a number of books on casual conversation, on small talk, and on salesmanship, and elevator pitches were one of the key guides to what you need to master.
Yep.
So that you can get your point across. And mine was, hi, my name is Michael Sano. Hi, would you mind if I gave you my card? And I did not run across anyone who said no. Everyone said yes. I said, my name's Michael Sano. I have a podcast with my partner here, Rachel. It's called the 12 Cities in Israel podcast. It's a positive podcast about the positive things in Israel. We invite you to watch it or download it, please. And then thank you. And nobody had anything negative to say. And
only if they like had more questions and they like asked you. So they continued the conversation.
And they did. That was the shocking part. Yeah. I wasn't prepared for that.
I didn't plan this far ahead.
I'm going to be honest. I was prepared for rejection. I was prepared for people to look at it and go, I don't know. And one of the things that I had to, when I was in Israel in April and I was telling people about the podcast, a lot of people in Israel didn't know what a podcast was. So I had to say, como radio. So, which is like radio. Como being like, and radio is radio. So, and as soon as I said that, the light bulb went, oh, okay. Yeah, I know exactly what it's like. But I didn't have to do that at this, even with Israelis. And everyone was hungry for that. But I think that's because there were so many supporters of what our podcast is about. Now, I told you about a couple of the people who were, at the event and who were sponsors and who were vendors. There was one from the Jordan Valley. Did you know that the gentleman in the short sleeve shirt the white shirt. You know who I'm talking about? He had a mustache.
Yes.
He was the mayor of the Jordan Valley. I didn't even know the Jordan Valley had a mayor.
Wow.
It's crazy, right? But there were a lot of people there. There were a lot of people that I was excited to see. There were a lot of people that I knew there, which were very gracious, good people. And I'm not going to mention them because I don't need to bring them into the conversation. They're my friends. If they want to be here. And what's funny is I'm torn between that decision because these are people that I want on this show. So by not bringing them up, it's a respect thing, but it's also with the hope that,
when the time comes,
their voice, I'd rather have their voice than my story about them.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And they're fascinating people. All of them are fascinating people. But I'm reserving this one little tiny, not tiny segment. I'm using this as a jumping off point to bring up a discussion that we had with Tehila from the Sullivan Agency. So one of the groups there was the Sullivan Law Firm, and one from Bigash and myself. Tehila, thank you so much. Thank you for your time. Thank you for listening to us. It was a pleasure. We ran into her and she said something that was awesome. So I did my pitch. I did my spiel, my little salesman shtick. And she says, hold on. I have to introduce the next person who's about to go on stage. No lie. For real.
Yeah.
But I want to talk to you. Will you be here when I get back?
Yes.
Absolutely. Absolutely. She did something that I wasn't prepared for. And it's difficult when you come up with something, especially when you create something new and it's so close to you and it is literally a sensitive part of yourself. This is a part of myself. This is part of my identity. This is a brand, 12 cities in Israel, but this brand is me. And she validated that for me in a way that very few people have or even would be able to. I like what you're saying. I want to hear more. I have to do something very important, but when I'm done with that, will you be here? There is a very short list of people in my life who have done that. One of them is Jeff Rosenfeld. One of them is Bigash. You did that because you instantly believed in my vision. You saw what I was doing. Another one is my wife, Stephanie, who literally is just at times supported this out of hers and my capital. You know what I mean? And those people are and Moti and the Biton family, who has just been like right there behind me, and Neely Kane, who whenever I've had a question, these people, I told you it's a short list. So I wanted to say that. Tehila, thank you so much. It's from the bottom of my heart. You validated everything that I do. And I'm looking forward to reaching out to her and seeing if we can work together. They know a lot of people. They know a lot of interesting people. They are interesting people. I'm actually interested in having them on and talking to them. And that gets to So this conference, these people, Ellen, Tahila, the woman at the JNF table, the woman at the Jerusalem hospital table.
Rambam.
No, that was Ellen. The other side.
Yeah.
The people in the hall that we spoke to, that woman we spoke to, I gave her my card.
Oh, in the entrance.
Yes. There was this wonderful, wonderful woman we spoke to, older woman who, she has a lot of wonderful ideas, and she wanted to speak to one of the speakers as they came out. And I encouraged her. I said, go talk to her. And she did. And it wound up being a really good conversation for her. But my point is, all of these people came together around something that they saw that was intrinsically positive. Okay? And all of these people are able to, like JNF does it with the land, with beautifying the land. Sullivan Law does it by strengthening business relationships and helping out Israelis and Americans work together in a business and legal environment. Rambam does it by, and this blows my mind. It's important because remember I had told you I had read about the underground thing that they do and all that.
The bunker.
So Rambam Hospital in Haifa has an underground garage that they can turn into a sealed off bunker, which is a trauma emergency room that can hold 1,000 people. I heard 1,200 people. It was some ridiculous amount of people, and
it's self-sufficient too.
Yeah, and I had read about it, and on top of that, there's room for bringing family members.
Because there's a school on the facilities.
Yeah, of work staff. So if you have kids, and it's for a big event like war, national emergency, national disaster, something like that. And it was tremendous. And I started speaking to her about this article I had read in the Jerusalem Report, it's funny because the Jerusalem Report is a magazine that's put out by the Jerusalem Post. Now, my friend, who was one of my professors, Elchanan, okay, he is left. He is left, okay? As Ayelet Shaked and some of the far-right parties are right, he is left. So I'm talking to him, I'm telling him, and I'm tragically in the middle. I am tragically dancing that razor-thin edge in the middle. Because I'm the worst. I'm the worst in the argument because I always go, well, I could really see where he's coming from. What do you mean you can see where he's coming? Well, because you are being kind of a jerk. Well, and so it really ticks people off. So I get the Jerusalem Report. Comes out once a month, and it's got some great articles. It's got some great writing in it. This is not a plug. This is a plug for it because it's good. It's good reporting and it's good literature. And I went and I told Elchanan. Now, the Jerusalem Post, I brought this up, kind of danced around this in the beginning. The Jerusalem Post falls on the conservative side in their opinion. Their reporting is not conservative, but in their opinion, they fall a little bit to the conservative side. So I was telling Elchanan, hey, I have some articles I want you to read, but they're in the Jerusalem Report. And I know the Jerusalem Post falls to the right, but then he cuts me off and says, no, the Jerusalem Report, it's a wonderful magazine. It has some of the best articles. I have no trouble with the objectivity of the Jerusalem Report. I was like, wow, because he was my professor at the time. I was like, whoa. I'm so smart. I'm so worldly. This is so great. Oh, I'm totally going to get an A. So, yeah. So, in the Jerusalem Report, this whole roundabout, as I go around the mountain to get to the top, is that the Jerusalem Report was where I read this article about Rambam Hospital. And that was what I told Ellen. And she was like, yeah, I remember that article coming out. And then I said, what about Operation Good Neighbor? And she had never heard of it. And I said, that was, it ended in 2018. And that was with the war in Syria, all the casualties, some of them would be brought to the Israeli border with the hope that the Israelis would help them, give them care. And of course, what did Israel do? Absolutely. Come. And they took them, they had field hospitals all along the border, but they also, for the really big cases, they brought them, they brought them to hospitals in Jerusalem, hospitals in Haifa. And what was the one that she was telling us about the brother? There was something, the child, so what?
I think that was the hospital in Haifa.
Yeah, but what was the thing? The girl needed
So there was a little girl that was injured, and they brought her in. And like amongst doing all the tests, they found out that she had cancer.
Man, that's
and
right.
The only person that would have been able to donate bone marrow to her, I think.
Yeah, that's
the
exactly
only possible donor was her brother that was in Syria.
So they did a secret mission to go bring the brother from Syria to Rambam, and then took him back to where he was. And apparently it wasn't as bad where he was.
Thankfully. And she was able to get helped.
Yeah, and the thing she wanted most though was to go back to her school, but she was terrified that it was destroyed.
Yeah.
And it wasn't.
She found out to go back.
Yeah. So, and she became a part of the Rambam family for the time that she was there. And so I have to, and we're getting close to the end. So this is a good segue, and I'm going to bring up this group later. But I want to touch on it. So there's a thing called in Jewish culture called simcha. And you know what the word simcha is, Nakon? Yes, you do?
Refresh my memory.
It's okay, don't worry. Joy.
I was about to say happy because it's like
Sameach is happy, and simcha is just joy. And that was one of the things that I saw in people's faces yesterday. When I started talking to them about what I'm doing and the fact that I want to change the conversation, that I no longer want to talk about all the bad things. I want to talk about all the good things, so that we can address the bad things a lot easier when we have tikva. Tikva is hope. And a lot of people have no hope, even in Israel, and we need it. And simcha is simcha and tikva go hand in hand. So joy and hope go hand in hand. And I saw hope in people's eyes when I told them about what we're doing. And I also saw simcha in their eyes when I talked to them about what we're doing. The more I talked to them, the more joy came. You know what I mean? So they really started seeing what our message is, what our mission is, what we want to do. And before we got on today, I gave you a little mini YouTube concert where I showed you more of this joy.
Yes.
And there is an organization. I don't know how to refer to it. Is it an organization or a group because they're both.
Yeah, I don't know how to define them either.
So they're, and I'm going to be bringing up all of these different elements and little prismatic elements of the Israeli rainbow that is Israeli society, because these are little nuggets that I want you to know about. These are little interesting things that I want you to be able to identify with, to be able to touch, so that you can touch Israel in the way that I'm hoping you can engage with Israel in. And this organization is called Kululam. And what do?
They're these amazing.
What do they do, though?
They sing.
What do they do?
They bring groups of people together that have never met each other before, and they teach them they teach them a song, and by the end of it, it's like this wonderful masterpiece that's like awe-inspiring.
So one of the ones that they sang was Believer by Imagine Dragons. And it's, on its own, it's a fun song.
Yeah.
But what they did was they split they had it all on a page, and they split each person into a section, and they first things first, time on the mountain side my head. And then this other group went, woo! And I'll put a link to it in this episode if you watch the video version, you'll be able to see it. But the reason I bring that up is the reaction that these individuals have as they're singing.
Yeah. Like in the midst of it, you see them and they're like, oh my gosh, like it actually works.
And that's one of the things that's forgotten about. That's one of the things that is forgotten about when people say the word Israel, and what people don't know about Israel is that Israel wants to sing. Israel wants to feel joy, and they don't want to feel it alone. They never want to feel it alone. You're always invited. You're always welcome. And I encourage you to try to find that joy in some aspect of Israel, either on YouTube or in actual Israelis that you meet. Try to feel that joy. Sometimes it doesn't always feel like joy. Sometimes it comes across a little serious, because sometimes Israelis can be serious, but that's Simka's there. On that note, on joy, I think we're going to wind down.
Boo.
I'm sorry. I know. And I want to talk more about Kululam, and I feel like I just threw it up on the wall, and then
next episode.
So yeah, actually maybe next episode we'll talk about Kululam a little bit more. But yeah, so that was one of the things. We got a wonderful opportunity to meet a bunch of wonderful people and experience just some joy about Israel and some joy about what Israel is to them, to us, and could be to everyone. So on that note of joy and feeling good, I want to tell you about two organizations that are very important to both of us. One of them is Allee. Allee helps children with complex disabilities receive state-of-the-art medical, educational, and rehabilitative care in Allee's 4 facilities. In addition, Allee provides thousands of outpatient treatments annually. And without Allee, many of these children would be forced to spend their lives in hospitals with no opportunities for rehabilitation, education, and the love and warmth of a home. Please visit www.allee.org. That's www.aleh.org, and see if there's a way that you can help.
Reading Voice. Our second sponsor.
No, it's an organization that we feel it's important that people should check out.
This is Schneider Children's Medical Center of Israel, and it is the only comprehensive tertiary care hospital of its kind in the country and in the Middle East, offering the full range of pediatric disciplines under one roof to all children from 0 to 18. Since its establishment in 1991, Schneider Children's has revolutionized the practice of pediatric medicine in the country and has been recognized as one of the leading pediatric institutions in the world. To see what you can do for them, please visit www.schneider.org.il/ENG. www.schneider.org.il/ENG.
And while Schneider, they're where I found out about Kululam.
They had one too. They had a performance.
Yeah, they had a performance
with all the children in the hospital. It was so beautiful.
You can tell him.
He cried.
I lost it. I can't. They're such angels, and
I cried too.
It was beautiful. So we are definitely going to talk about Kululam next episode. We wanted to also tell you that we would like to film 6 episodes of our full half-hour length 12 cities in Israel travel show. To do this, we need to be in Israel to film. And through fundraising, we are trying to make our budget of $50,000. This will include airfare and lodging, equipment and transportation around Israel, and a host of other things that are required when on location with a crew of 4 people for 7 weeks in another country. By donating just $2, you can bring us closer to the $50,000 that we need and enable us to bring the full 12 cities in Israel web series to life. That's the full half-hour show. You can see the pilot, Food and Fun in Beersheba, on our YouTube channel. And it's a lot of fun, and we have a lot of great ideas, a ton of great ideas for what to do with it. All right, so thank you so much for joining us for the 12 Cities in Israel podcast. Don't forget to subscribe to our feed and become a part of the 12 Cities in Israel community. We'll be bringing you a brand new podcast every week, so keep your eyes out for that. You can find this podcast on iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, TuneIn, Spotify, and
yes. Please visit our YouTube channel also, where we have the video version of this podcast for you to watch, and our other videos that we've produced, including the full-length travel episode on the city of Beersheba in southern Israel. And while you're there, please share it and subscribe, and check us out on our website at www.12citiesinisrael.com and on our Facebook page and Instagram, where he posts every day brand new pictures of his travels in Israel. And that's it. Toda rabah.
להתראות.
יאללה ביי.
יאללה ביי.
לא איני בכלל כועס, ליבי תמיד שמח, גם אם לפעמים כואב תמיד אהיה שמח. שחקי בי כרצונך ילדונת, ילדונת, חום גופך הצית בי, יש לשמוע מילותייך, ארוכה הייתה דרכי לגשת עד אלייך. את שוברת לבבות, לא רוצה באהבות, את שוברת לבבות, לא רוצה באהבות. איך עינייך בשיתו, את צחקת והם חייכו, איך עינייך בשיתו, את צחקת והם חייכו. שחקי בי כרצונך ילדונת, ילדונת, שחקי בי כרצונך ילדונת, ילדונת.